Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 18, Moksha Sanyasa Yoga, or the Yoga of Liberation through Renunciation. Part 1. The main theme: lose your material self and gain your spiritual self. This closing chapter is a summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. Since this is a rather long one, it will be explained in two parts. This is the first part. The first point. One eternal spirit functions everywhere through matter, and it expresses itself in this pluralistic world. This world is filled with innumerable people, each behaving differently due to his unique personality. And accordingly, on the basis of temperaments, we have three types of personalities: the good, sattvic, the passionate, rajasic, and the dull, tamasic. Now, each one of us has all the three gunas, but in different proportions. Also, the human mind and intellect functions under different moods and behaviors at different times, even within the same individual. And this is due to the preponderance of a particular guna in him at a particular time. Now, keeping this fact clearly in mind, we should analyze ourselves constantly on why we acted or reacted in a particular way at a particular time. This is not only a great tool for self-analysis and self-discipline, but also in understanding empathetically the behavior of others. The second point, Sanyasa, which is renunciation, and Tyaga, which is abandonment, are two indispensable tools for liberation. Totally giving up all desire-prompted activities is Sanyasa, and performance of actions without the anxieties for the fruits of the actions is Tyaga. Now, desire and anxiety automatically brings about restlessness and dissipation of energy. And also, desire is always prompted by the ego, and only when the ego is eliminated will the individual ascend to the higher. Thus, renunciation is the goal to be reached through the process of abandonment. The next point is about action, Tyaga, which is threefold. One is acts of worship, that is sacrifice or yajna, then charity, and then austerity, which is tapas. Actions have to be performed mandatorily as long as we live. Also, they become purifiers when we give up the clinging attachments and anxieties for the fruit of actions. And in this manner, there will be no accumulation of vasanas. When vasanas are good, man returns to a joyous field of prosperity and happiness. But when they are bad, he returns to a lower strata of life. And when he has a mixed vasana, he returns into this world. All this, however, lead back to the same cycle of birth and death. But ultimately, the total relinquisher, the man who has realized himself free from the cycle of birth and death, will become one with the Absolute. Now, based on the gunas, which are in turn responsible for one's personality and natural qualities, the entire human community was classified into four divisions. The Brahmanas, who had major of sattva guna, little of rajas, and minimum of tamas. And then we had the Kshatriyas, who had major rajas guna, some sattva and tamas. Vaisyas, more rajas, less sattva and some tamas. And lastly, the fourth class Sudras had major tamas, little rajas and minimum sattva. These distinctions were based only on the general characteristics. However, today the class distinctions have been totally misused and based on hereditary, birthright alone, even without the prescribed qualities. According to a great spiritualist, in modern times, however, society can be divided into the creative thinkers, the politicians, the commercial employers, that is, businessmen, and the laborers or the proletarians. Based on this inner equipment, the responsibilities also are different. The duty of a Brahmana is serenity, controlling the mind from swaying into the realms of sense enjoyments, self control, tapas, purity, uprightness, and codes of conduct for a spiritual life like jnanam, vijnanam, faith, and those of a kshatriya include prowess and boldness, fortitude, alertness, and vigilance, not fleeing away from the battle, generosity, and self confidence. The Vaisya's duties were in the field of agriculture, cattle rearing, trade, and commerce, and the Shudras are best suited to work in a spirit of dedication and service. Hence, the best course of action yielding to best results would be to carry out the duties ordained by one's nature, that is Svabhava, and by one's station in life, that is Swadharma. Then alone will one's vasanas get exhausted and there is no chance of imprinting any new vasanas. The Bhagavad Gita tells us no duty is high or low. Whether it is a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Sudra, whatever it is, everyone's duty is on the same level. Nobody is high or low. Only thing is, when you do your duty, the only condition is it should be done in a spirit of total surrender, with dedication and without any expectations. And it's only in this way that work becomes worship. Thus, Arjuna is advised that as he is a Kshatriya, his duty is only to fight, championing the cause of the good and establishing righteousness. He will not be doing any wrong, as this is his Swabhava and Swadharma. In fact, this is the only spiritual sadhana left for him to exhaust his existing vasanas of rajas and tamas. The Lord reiterates that running away from life and its duties is not sannyasa or renunciation. The state of pure awareness can be reached only when the prescribed activities are done selflessly, dedicatedly, without egoism, desires, and detachment from lower urges. Then alone will he be fit for meditation. Thus ends the first part of the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, entitled Moksha Sanyasa Yoga, or the Yoga of Liberation through Renunciation. Hari Om Tat Sat.